Morning. Welcome to the INDRASYARUDRA channel. As you could see, some white walls, painting complete on the office space, and more upgrades and updates coming by. Exciting. The video is not about the office space. The video is about the fifth house. What's so amazing about the fifth house, and why is the fifth house so important? And why is INDRASYARUDRA called the significator of the fifth house? So all of you who are wondering who is INDRASYARUDRA, INDRASYARUDRA is our very own Jupiter, our lovely darling Jupiter, the superhero is INDRASYARUDRA. So that's where we are getting to, that's where we're talking about. Hold up video, I think it's becoming a way, becoming a norm for me. So kind of trying to do that and seeing if that is something that really works for us. So that's what we are trying to get to. Alright, position change. Hold up video on a sitting posture rather than a standing posture, because I think maybe fifth house video might be a little longer, so I thought why not just do a sit down hold up rather than a stand up hold up. So let's see how this goes. So what's the fifth house? Fifth house has got many names. One is, it's a house of creativity. It's a house of what you absolutely love doing. That's essentially the fifth house. And you come from a space of love, that's fifth house. Your heart is your fifth house. And whatever you love doing, whatever you get where you would do it for free, but someone's offering you money for it, so you will take it. That's fifth house as well. And you're extremely passionate about it. You're passionate, you love it, and you don't care about anything. Time doesn't matter. Time actually stops when you do a fifth house activity. When you do something with absolute love, the time ceases to exist. And you're just in it, you're enjoying it, you're really going after it. That's a fifth house activity. It's also called the Purva Punya Bhava. But if you look at it, if you just break it down, it's essentially what you love doing. And when you love doing it, you just get better at it. And it's something that you really long for, that you want to keep doing this forever. So whenever you say, I want to do things forever, then lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, you tend to be having that. So that is clearly indicated from your fifth house. Fifth house is also creativity. So whatever you feel absolutely creative, your creative best is your fifth house. Your fifth house is also children, because children are an embodiment of creativity. While it's debatable whether are they embodiments of creativity, are they devils in disguise? It's a debatable topic, and but we'll just go with what's there. And but essentially, if you look at it, it's where it's about fun. It's about creativity. It's something that you absolutely love doing. You keep loving it. You keep doing it, and you enjoy doing this more and more. That's the whole fifth house. And the INDRASYARUDRA book, which we've recently released on Amazon, there's a chapter on the fifth house. It's a beautiful chapter on the fifth house. So go ahead and read it, and you will have more insights about it. So this video is more of a build-up on the fifth house. Alright, so I think that's enough context for the fifth house. Let's kind of get deeper into it. So let's look at it from a Lagna perspective. So which means that there are two types of people which are there. One is folks who really believe that their life is in their hands and they own their life. They are the captain of the ship and master of their body. So they are the captains, they drive the life, they are very focused, very driven, and they believe that they are the ones who are actually making everything in their life. And that's essentially the third house. So when someone has a very strong third house, they tend to have this kind of attitude that they own their life, they own their body, and they decide, they make choices and they decide. It's also called the house of free will. So the house of free will is the third house, which is amazing, which means that they get to be the true masters of their life, and they get to decide on what they want to do, who they want to be, everything. And when you talk about astrology, when you talk about planets and movement of planets shaping your life and destiny, they just have a laugh. They're like, what are you talking about? Nothing has more power than me. I'm the most powerful person in this life of mine, and I decide what I want to do. Nobody has any influence over me. So that's something that you always keep hearing when you have someone with a very strong third house. The natural karaka for the third house, and karakas are essentially significators. So the natural karaka for the third house is the monster Mars. So the monster Mars is the natural karaka for the third house. And here Mars, or the monster Mars, is about, I don't care. I don't care about anything. I don't care about your what placements the planets are. I don't care about your emotions. I don't care about who you are. All I care about is what I would like to do in that moment. And that's how they operate, that's how they go after. And that's amazing. That's amazing, the kind of free will they exercise, and the kind of fierceness which they come with, the aggression that they bring, is absolutely fascinating to see. And this is something that you also notice when someone gets really stubborn in what they do. Typically you notice it with kids as well, where if they decide that they want something, they would cry, they would manipulate, they would do everything possible to get what they really want. And that's fascinating and amazing to see how far they would go to get what they want. So this is clearly a third house, where a very strong third house is that. And exactly opposite to that, exactly opposite to the third house, is the ninth house. And there everything is, it just slows down. Like how this video was, I was like at it, like talking about it, and once I came to the ninth house, I'm like, take it easy, just slow down, just breathe, let the universe take care of you. Whether you believe it or not, the heart is beating for you, the lungs are doing their work, the body is doing its thing, it's a system, it's taking care of you. The crows are cawing, the birds are chirping, the wind is blowing. Just be in it, just be in that space, just be in the zone. That's all you need to do. There's nothing else that's done. You just need to enjoy life. You need to be appreciative of life. Gratitude becomes the baseline for ninth house, where everything seems to be destined for you, everything seems to be ordered for you, where so imagine third house, you're like a race car driver. You're like going for it full on, full speed. You're making all the decisions by yourself, and let's say if there are other players on the racetrack, you're like, I don't care, I got to win, I got to be number one, and I will fight aggressively, I will compete, and I'll go with it. Ninth house is about you have a Rolls Royce, a luxurious, a limousine, and a driver who says, "Hey, where do you want to go? I'll take you." And what do you want to do? And you don't even tell them anything. You say, "I trust you, my darling driver. You take me wherever you want. Whichever place you want me to take you, I will go there. I will experience it. I'll feel grateful about it. I'll feel joyful that I get to experience these things." And every moment is a sense of gratitude. And this is all for folks with amazing ninth houses and amazing lords of ninth house, where you feel very grateful. You might also feel resentful, where you feel that you have no control over your life and somebody else is being the puppet master and you're being a puppet. So that it could also turn that way. But we will focus on how it plays out in the best possible manner, and then we will look at how we could use everything to our advantage. The goal of all these videos is to ensure that you feel empowered and you're able to experience a lot of power by knowing where the placements are and how you can empower your life. That's the goal. That's all I'm trying to do. That's all I want to go with it. So that's ninth house, where you're just flowing. You're flowing like water. You feel there is no control, and you are not even looking for control. You're just looking for fun. You're just enjoying it. You're just enjoying it. You feel blessed. You feel lucky. You feel things are happening to you, and you feel so great and amazing about it. All this is a beautiful ninth house trait. So third, ninth. You got it? All right. So the interesting bit is third from the third, which is called the Bhavad Bhavam concept, which is the higher self or the higher order of the third house, is third from the third. That's how they look at it. So when I look at third from the third, you land up in the fifth house. And interestingly, if you go ninth from the ninth, which means you go 9 houses from your ninth house, you will again land up on the fifth house again. So like, wow, both of them land in the fifth house. That's like interesting. How did it even happen? That's like amazing. So the higher order or the higher self of the third house and the ninth house is a fifth house, where and fifth house, the most important thing about the fifth house is there are no rules. There are no rules with the fifth house, where it's all about the heart. Whatever you love doing, that's the fifth house. So you have to be in absolute love. You got to be in love with what you do, in love with who you are. And as you're in it, and you're in the most creative space possible, that's fifth house, no rules. So that's amazing that third from third is fifth, which means that you're thinking that you are the master of your life and all of it, and you've taken it so far where you enjoy your life as the master. You just say and declare that I am the master of my life. And you just be there and you enjoy that. For example, I have no control over the cuckoo that's going with it. But I'm like, I am the master of my life. So I'm going to do the video. I'm going to enjoy myself as I do it. And everything becomes a contribution. So the cuckoo's music becomes a contribution. I'm like, wow, cuckoo, what a musical tone that you're doing. And I go with it. That's fifth house, where you recognize your free will and you appreciate the universe. So you know that you and the universe are partnering together. That's a great space to be, where you know you're brilliant, you know you're amazing, and you recognize universe, and then you choose what you want to do. Do you want to like take it? Do you want to take the cuckoo's voice and put it as a part of your video, or do you want to like take it easy and do something else? So everything is available in the fifth house. It's the true place of mastery. It's a true place of amazing mastery. That's essentially the fifth house. And ninth from ninth, where you're so much in tune with the universe that you seem to be at the right place, at the right time, meeting the right people, having the right opportunity. Everything falls in your lap. Everything comes and falls in your lap. And you just have to be there. And even if you're not there, you still make it. That's the beauty of ninth from ninth, which is again the fifth house, where you're so much in sync, so much in tune, where you don't have to look at anything that's happening from an astrology perspective. You don't have to look at your dashas. You don't have to look at your gocharas. You don't have to look anywhere. You just have to feel your heart. You just have to touch your heart, be here, enjoy yourself, and just go with it. And your heart knows everything. And that's a great way to live as well. So ninth from ninth, getting to the fifth. So yeah, and the cuckoo just gets louder and louder. So you're like, okay, go ahead, cuckoo, do what you want to do. And I'm just there in the right place at the right time, enjoying myself as money comes to me, as opportunities comes to me, as businesses come to me, as amazing life comes to me, and I'm there to experience it, and I'm like superbly timing it amazingly well, as like being the master there. So I think that's great, right? So we got third, we got ninth, and we got how third from third is fifth, and how ninth from ninth is also fifth. Now let's go a little deeper. Now your spirituality, where you consider yourself to be absolutely spiritual, you consider yourself to be someone of great spirituality, you're going to be looking at the 12th house. So you're going to be looking at the 12th house and you're going to say that, hey, I am super spiritual because I have an amazing 12th house. I'm like, amazing, superb. Like superb, you have that feeling that you are so spiritual, you're so amazing. So go for it, go with it. And then we look at, all right, what's higher than the spirituality? And then I'm like, higher than 12th, what's there? So then we look at 12th from 12th. So we look at 12 houses from the 12th house. We end up in the 11th house, the 11th house of superpowers. So the 11th house of superpowers is also called the house of Siddhi, which is all your spirituality, spiritual practices result in a Siddhi, where they have given you a certain fruit and you're enjoying that fruit. So that becomes the 11th house. So then like, wow, that's amazing. So which means that all the spiritual powers that I'm doing, and suddenly it's like the entire universe is like, come alive. They're like all talking to me and like, hey, let's look at the sounds, listen to it and see what's going on. I'm like, all right, great. So that's your 11th house. 11th house is your house of superpowers. Like your superpowers and amazing things are your 11th house. Now 11th from 11th is your 9th house again. So I'm like, oh, we're back. We're back on track with this. So then once you know that 11th from 11th is your 9th, and then from 9th you again get to 5th. So all spirituality, superpowers and everything again comes back to the 5th house. So want to be deeply spiritual, want to experience siddhis, want to experience your superpowers, then come back to the 5th house. So I'm like, all right, it's great to have the 5th house here again. And interestingly, exactly opposite to the 11th house is the 5th house. All right, okay. Whew. Man, how long does it take to explain the 5th house? So this is great. So which means we've had 12, 11, coming back to the 5th. So let's try the other side now. So let's look at the second house, is the house of your personality. Second house is the house of wealth. It's also called it's called Dhanesh. Dhanesh is someone who holds the dhan or money. So if you're looking for money, because 11th is called the Labesh. Labesh is about profits, and Dhanesh is about having the money. So which means you have the money, and 11th is all about Labesh, which is about profits. So let's look at Dhanesh. So second house. So second from second is the third house, which is like the house of your efforts, house of your courage, and house of your free will. So with your courage, with your skills, with your free will, you get money. So like, wow, that's great. But again, we know third from third is back to fifth. I'm like, again, really? So again, we've come back to fifth, which means if you really want to make a lot of money, then just come to the fifth house. Really love what you do, really come from your heart, and that would give you more and more money than you could ever imagine, because it's the Bhavat Bhavam Extremum, which is like you go extreme on the Bhavat Bhavam concept. You just keep going higher and higher and higher till you reach a point where it doesn't go any higher than that. So we went from second to second, we went to third, and then from third we went to fifth, because third from third is fifth. Amazing. So now we've captured 3 and 9. Then we looked at 12, 11. And then now we went with second, third, and we all came to fifth. So that's like quite a few houses for us to focus on, and quite a few houses for us to let us know as to why fifth house is so important in our life. It's amazing that fifth house has so much significance, and you can just uncover it just with the Bhavat Bhavam concept. So let's go a little deeper on it. Now let's look at the sixth house, because sixth house is your house of daily activities. Sixth house is about enemies. This sixth house is about health, diseases, and it's also called the Badaka house as such. And it's also your routine. It's a house of your routine. So let's say you go for a job, like what do you do on an everyday basis, or even a business, what do you do on an everyday basis, is also your sixth house. So that's like interesting that sixth house is so important. And the benefits of doing something that you absolutely love, which is your fifth house. So any house, you take second from that house, becomes the benefit or the labh of that house. So that's why, so the benefits or the gains that you get goes to the sixth house. So which means the more powerful you become, more enemies get attracted. So they're like, hey, this guy is getting too powerful, or this woman is becoming too powerful. Let's see how we could bring them to order. So even jealousy is also associated with sixth. So the higher order of sixth, which is sixth from sixth, is 11th. So again, so superpowers. It's like, wow. So we know that 11th becomes 9th and 9th becomes 5th again. So that's like amazing, which is even for 6th, the highest house that really helps 6th to get better is your 5th again. I'm like, interesting, that's brilliant, superb. Alright, so that's great. And let's again look at, so now what did we do? We looked at second, we looked at third, we looked at sixth, then we looked at 11th, 9th and 12th. So let's look at one more house, which is 8th house. Now 8th house is a house of accidents, it's a house of sudden events, it's a house of inheritance, it's a house of occult and mystery and anything that's shrouded in mystery. It's also about the actual sexual act which is there. So that's also the 8th house. And 8th house is like, wow, it's so mysterious, it's highly difficult to grasp the 8th house. But just looking at the same Bhavat Bhavam concept, so 8th from 8th goes to 3rd. And again, 3rd from 3rd goes to 5th. So even if you want to like master occult, you want to master tantra, you want to master like sudden gains, like a lottery or stock market or any of it, again you got to get to the 5th house. So 5th house has so much significance and importance. So I'm like, wow, this is superb, this is great. So I think we've covered most of the houses. What we left are the key Kendra houses. The Kendra houses are 1, 4, 7 and 10. I didn't touch the Kendra houses because 5th house is a part of your Trikona. So it's like, okay, so 5th house only does these houses, doesn't touch the Kendra house. So let's look at it. So the gain from 4th. So the gain from 4th is your 5th, right? So whatever you do from your 4th, the gain comes to the 5th. And from a 7th perspective, which is your house of relationships. And so 4th is all about your home environment, is your upbringing and all of that. So the gain from all of that goes to your 5th. So I'm like, all right, I get it. Where you have a good upbringing, you maybe have a good heart, and a good heart maybe good in love, good in creativity. But there are exceptions to it, but this is typically how we get to see how things are. So that makes sense. All right. Now, where are we at? We are in 7th, which is the house of relationships, house of partnerships, house of sexual relationships, house of business partnerships. So all of this, the gain, which is like if I keep 7 as the lagna, the 5th becomes a superpower of it. So which means from a relationship perspective, if you got to be super, if you got to be the superhero, you got to be the Wonder Woman, you want to be the Superman, then you want to have an extremely strong 5th house, so that only then the superpower of the relationship again comes back to the 5th house. So that's how important 5th house becomes. So I'm like, wow, this is amazing that 5th house has so much significance. Not only with all the houses, but also the Kendra. From a Kendra perspective, from a house perspective, 5th house is extremely strong. From a 7th perspective, 5th house becomes extremely critical for you to be in that love, for you to be in that amazing space of creativity, to really exponentialize relationships. So if you're looking at exponentialized, empowered relationships, then you need to have a strong 5th house. That's amazing that you have so much in it. And empowered, exponentialized relationships, strong 5th house. And I've written a whole chapter. I've actually written a couple of chapters on empowered, exponentialized relationships in the book, INDRASYARUDRA. So do give it a read. It's an amazing book. It's a book that can actually change your life. So go ahead and get your copy right now. All right. So what are we missing now? The 10th house, which is like, wow, 10ths. Now the 10th house can be looked at it in 2 ways. One, the gain of the 10th, which is whatever you do, your karma, the karma sthana, whatever you do, or the rajasthana that you do. The gain of that goes to the 11th. So once you go to the 11th, you know, you go from 11th to 11th, which is your 9th, and then from 9th you hit the 5th house. And someone who's looking to finish their karmas. There are people who say that I want to like finish all my karmas, I want to attain moksha. How do I do this? The end of your karmas can also be seen from the 12th house of 10th, which is like, if I want to see the ending, the death or the completion or closure of the karmas, which is your 10th house, then you look at 12th from the 10th, which is essentially your 9th house. So back again. So again, go from ninth to ninth, again you hit the fifth house. So that's how important the fifth house is. And fifth house is extremely, extremely important for you to have an amazing life. Because you could look at it that almost all houses all lead to the fifth house. And that's how important the fifth house is. And fifth house is INDRASYARUDRA. And that's exactly why INDRASYARUDRA or Jupiter is so important for your life, so important for your living, and so important to really, really have an amazing life. So that's how powerful it is to really, there you go. That's how powerful it is to have an amazing fifth house. And for you to have an amazing fifth house, really get in touch with INDRASYARUDRA. How do I do it? How do I bring it to my personal life? Which is, you always start with the monster. You always start with the monster Mars. Because when you are looking at the fifth house, you might look for initial results and initial validations. So the quick initial results and validations comes through the monster Mars. And simple ways of activating it, there are many ways to do it. The simple ways to do it is through the nakshatra activation technique, where I've again listed this in detail in the book, INDRASYARUDRA. So what you could do is look at where Mars is. So let's say Mars is in Punarvasu nakshatra, then draw a red cat and sign on it. So use a red pen and with a red pen just draw the red cat and sign on it. And do this typically when you're about to sleep, because only when you're about to sleep your analytical filter is down and you're most suggestible at that time. So when you do that, all the effects of doing all this goes deeper to your space. So that's a great way to bring Monster Mars into your life. And it's been 30 minutes of me doing this, so let's like switch hands and see if this gets better. Wow. It's been a while since I've done a long video, and kind of fun that we're able to do it. And let's get further into this. Let's get further. So once you've done the Monster Mars, once you've really got Monster Mars into your picture, things start getting really quick. Things start happening fast to you. Now is the time to bring INDRASYARUDRA in your life. Now you're going to ask me, like, how is INDRASYARUDRA working? So you might think that, okay, so which means I just have to do the nakshatra animal that's associated with INDRASYARUDRA and do the golden version of it and we are set. I'm like, yeah, you could do that, and you're smart to figure it out, so great, kudos to you. But something amazing with INDRASYARUDRA is the principle of rumination. So rumination is we are constantly thinking about something over and over again. So there's a lot of negative connotations that's associated with rumination. But look at rumination from a positive sense, which is any mantra that you're doing, and any mantra that you're doing slowly is a rumination. And that's essentially what the fifth house is all about, mantras or ruminating on something, which is my favorite topic. You would like to be a billionaire, right? So which means I'm ruminating on being a billionaire. And this whole rumination is a space of Jupiter, is a space of INDRASYARUDRA. So I'm ruminating on being a billionaire. So which means that I'm like really in this thought more and more. It's not something that I just think of and leave it, but it's something that I spend most of my time thinking about. I'm thinking about this thought, I'm constructing my life around it, I'm imagining what kind of life and living will I lead with being a billionaire. And then I bring these thoughts more and more. And even if the cuckoo's like going with it, saying like, hey, I'm here, I'm ruminating about being a billionaire. And that's really consuming me, that's really taking my thing. And I love it. I love it. And I'm putting all my creativity, I'm putting my passion to it. And I'm just bringing everything possible there. So as this comes through, I'm building a mindset for it, which is I'm bringing the moon into this thing. And moon is like, wow, this is great. You have this billionaire thing, so let me kind of build a billionaire mindset with you. So you and the moon are creating together. So you're like making amazing strides there. And then Venus is coming in and you're partnering with Venus. So imagine what happens with rumination. It's a very strong rumination. You're absolutely passionate about it. Every other planet becomes a partner for you. You're not competing anymore. Everyone becomes a partner. So you just keep going further and further, further and further. And everyone becomes a partner in this experience. So you and Venus are partnering together with chemical compositions that are getting created in your body. And it's the ruminations getting better and stronger. And you become a living black hole of that whole space. So black hole is Rahu. So Rahu is coming in exponentializing this. Like, wow, this is great. This is super. Let's get this done as quickly as possible. Let's find creative ways to get you this. Because Rahu is nothing but the Dragon King. And the Dragon King is exponentialized moon, right? So that's like amazing. So it's just exponentializing it. You're really being in it more and more. And it's creating this whole black hole effect where it's all coming together. It's all coming to you more and more, more and more. And you're just being there. And it's amazing. It's fascinating that this thought is growing. Your awareness is growing. You're learning from it. You're becoming better. You're becoming better. This is also how tapasya is also done. So let's say someone was meditating for 1,000 years and got these superpowers. This is how they do it. They totally become that. They become that thought so much that they become a living, breathing mindset, living, breathing black hole, and they become that more and more. And they become INDRASYARUDRA more and more, more and more. So they become the mightiest of mighty, they become the superhero themselves, and they just are ruminating in it more and more. So this is amazing, this is brilliant, and this is something that if you guys get it, there's nothing that you can't do in your life. With INDRASYARUDRA, with you being INDRASYARUDRA, there is nothing that you cannot achieve in your life. You will be able to achieve everything in your life with being INDRASYARUDRA. So let's go further into it. Let's understand this more. So now you're doing this, you're getting chemical compositions, and even Sham, goddess Sham, like she sees this and she's like, wow, my man or my woman. You're so cool, you're so amazing. I want to contribute to you. So continue on this, I want to contribute to you. I want to like really make your life better. I want to give you mega wealth. I want to give you everything because I love you so much for what you're doing. So it's just going further and further, further and further, and it's really getting better. Sun as well, which is like you're drawing the power and energies of the sun, like which is your very soul, your Atma, and you're like bringing all of that together and making it happen. So you're giving purpose towards sun as well. So sun is like, wow, this is my soul living through a body and I love it, so let's bring more of it. So the sun also gives all its energy and power to INDRASYARUDRA and say, go ahead, do what you want with it. I trust you, I love you, do it. So imagine what all this happened so far, which means we've got the sun, we've got the moon, we've got the Dragon King. Dragon King essentially is Rahu and Ketu together. Then we got the monster Mars involved because monster Mars absolutely loves INDRASYARUDRA. And we got Venus, my honey, in it. We have goddess Sham in it. Who am I missing? The brilliant Mercury, right? So Mercury is always about mixing. So Mercury is about mixing, and it's always telling you, like, get awareness of what's happening. So as you're ruminating, as you're getting further into the billionaire thing more and more, you would have started somewhere, But now you should have got more awareness from it. And with that awareness, become that person. So you become that personality, you become that billionaire, you become who you are, and you act like that. So Mercury is telling you, like, act like that. And you want to take it to an extreme, get the help of Rahu, because Rahu's really mastered that art. And I gave him that skill. So go ahead and do that. So if you take billionaire as a skill, build it further, build it further. Look at business, get better with business, look at which instruments give you that billionaire kind of opening, and then do that more. So now everyone is out there to partner with you, and they're just looking at you to continuously keep ruminating, and really becoming that. You become that personality, you become that person, you go through huge transformations with your body, you go through huge transformations with your mind, and with the Monster Mars, you're also taking action. You're just not sitting in some corner, but you're also taking action, and you're really changing and creating your life. This is the most amazing power of the 5th house, and this is the most amazing power of INDRASYARUDRA. So it's brilliant. So just keep at it, keep doing this, and this is what I've kept writing on INDRASYARUDRA, and that's it. This whole thing was a rumination for me. This book that I created in 11 days, and if I have to say honestly, it was a co-creation with me and my co-author Ambika. We co-created this book in 11 days, just with this whole thing of rumination, absolutely consumed by this INDRASYARUDRA, and we just started writing, and ended up with a book. So it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible to make it happen, really possible to make mega wealth with it, really possible to make an amazing life and living with it, if you just get what I just told you about 5th house, about INDRASYARUDRA, and the superpowers of INDRASYARUDRA. So I hope you got quite a bit on it. I think it's one of the longest videos I've done, but something that I absolutely enjoyed doing it. And this again is a 5th house attribute. I didn't really care about time. All I wanted was to do this with a lot of love, and it's just coming there. So yeah, and don't feel shy to showcase your love, showcase your likes and subscriptions. Buy the book, INDRASYARUDRA. It's an amazing book, phenomenal book. It could change your life. And let's talk further. And until next time, see you. Take care. Bye-bye.